the timetable starts. Traffic building, sun on the glass. Another long shift and the heat comes fast. Windows open but the air won't move. Sweat on my back before 2:30.
Hi, I'm Joe and this is Better Buses. The opinions and views I share are my own and not my employer's, but having marched for the Bus Drivers' Bill of Rights, I know that what I'm talking about affects swathes of drivers across London. Next time you're at a bus stop, look up. If the driver's window is open in this heat, it's telling you something obvious. It's almost certainly because they have no adequate cooling in their cab, or none at all. What follows is a range that may not be technically accurate, from the best that exists to the worst that should never be permitted. Thank you to Drazian Waves for the support for your soundtrack for this and the last episode. A link to your channel is in the description. And if you want to follow issues like those I'm raising, I would recommend checking out London bus forums for the latest news. At the best end of the spectrum, some bus cabs do have fully crisp, cooled cabs, or what drivers would otherwise call air conditioning. And this allows them to concentrate, preserve energy, focus on the road. And that's kind of precisely the point. Drivers know it's possible, they've seen it, many have experienced it. The solution exists. A step down from effective cooling are systems that reduce the temperature but don't keep the driver cool. Some may technically be air conditioning systems, but due to age, condition, maintenance or design, they no longer provide the level of cooling drivers need. For example, if the cab is 45 degrees and the system reduces it to 43 degrees, that is low-level cooling. These systems take off the edge rather than provide genuine relief. They cool the air, but they do not necessarily cool the driver. From level 2 onwards, windows will often be open to create airflow. This happens because the system is not providing sufficient cooling for the conditions and exposes drivers to another unfiltered hazard, pollution. Further down the spectrum are buses with fans or inbuilt vents with no level of cooling. Fans and vents can work in a narrow band of cooler temperatures, but that's it. On a hot day, you're essentially blowing hot air at yourself. Inbuilt vents can have different strengths depending on the bus. Some blowing more lightly are often insufficient even at lower temperatures, and some have real strength. Those blowing towards your legs will provide no relief for the build-up in the rest of your body, including your head. It's a token gesture in the face of a serious problem. Here too, at hotter temperatures, it's too hot to keep the cab window closed, as containing that air escalates the temperature. Further down still are buses fitted with air conditioning units that, when switched on, blow out hot air instead of cold. The infrastructure is there, the expectation is there, but the reality is the opposite of what it should be. The only grace is at least you can turn this off, even if it is after you've raised the temperature in your cab when you are seeking relief. At the absolute worst end of the spectrum sits something that, in my opinion, should never be allowed on the road under any circumstances on a hot day. These are cabs where warm air actively blows into the cab area with no way to adjust it or switch it off. You're not just dealing with ambient temperature, you're dealing with ambient temperature made actively worse by a system pumping additional hot air into the cab. The driver has no control over this whatsoever. No override, no off switch, no relief. The driver cannot change their biology. They cannot stop their cardiovascular system working harder in the heat. Cannot prevent the fatigue that builds up as their body fights to cool itself. Some carry underlying conditions that make them more vulnerable. Conditions the heat will find regardless. Biology is not negotiable, which means the system has to be. If you haven't already, please sign to get the Bus Drivers' Bill of Rights into bus contracts. Link in the description. If we want safer buses, we need better tools. And cab temperatures are one big place to start. This is Better Buses. Stay safe on the roads.